You know what else I love? Souffle, and that's what we're making in today's Daily Dish. Here's what you need: butter, flour, milk, some really good Gruyere cheese, eggs, Dijon mustard, lots of chives, creme de tartare, salt and pepper, and parmigiana. So Randy, souffle just seems like a fiddly, finicky thing to make, and I don't know if it's just what I learned from Three's Company, but everybody's got to be quiet when you take it out of the oven or the whole thing collapses. Like, how tough is this recipe?
You're not wrong, Trace. You know what? When you're watching Three's Company, Jack Tripper made it look like a very difficult thing, but I think he was playing up in the drama to impress the ladies like, you know, we normally do when we're in the kitchen. You know what? At the end of the day, it's a super simple thing and you can actually execute it at home, and it gives you a big wow for the people that are dining with you. And there's a few simple steps you need to realize. I'm going to take you through them today. So we're going to start with a roux, and as you can see, I've made this one a little bit blonde. So I basically cooked some flour and butter, equal portions, and just cooked it out a little bit. This is going to work, think about this like the cement to our souffle. It's going to hold everything together. And then we're just going to deglaze with some milk here. And as you can see, it's just kind of like slowly. Room temperature, doesn't have to be hot or anything. And then you're just going to stir that in. But you can see it already, like it's coming together. It looks like, you know, I grew up in the concrete business, and this is looking good. It's got a good slump level to it. So we just slowly add the rest of that milk in there. But what we're trying to do is kind of come up with 50% worth of flavor, well, 100% worth of flavor, but 50% of the mass is going to go in this pot, and the other 50% is where the airiness is going to come in. And we're going to get there with egg whites. So you take a look back at our roux. We're nice and thick here. We're going to go a little bit more milk just to thin it out and keep the heat on it. But then you get the best cheese you can possibly find. Gruyere is always the one that we're usually going to use. You can also fortify it with a little bit of maybe Emmenthal or cheddar if you want. If you're feeling extra fancy, you can even throw some goat cheese in there. To be brutally honest with you, our house at home, we got this cheese drawer, and it's full of all these like random little things with kind of like nubs and stuff. When we're going to make a souffle, we just grab all that stuff and put it in. So as you can see here, it's really coming together. I'm just going to take it off the heat. The cheese is starting to melt, so we're just going to take that off and let it sit for a little second while we get everything else put together. The bowl is super important, whatever you're baking in, and what you have to do is make sure you've got lots of butter and grease it up, because the souffle is going to want to like fight against it and kind of puff up. So we've got some butter in here lined up. I'm just going to take some more cheese, some Parmesan Reggiano, and dash it in there. Now, this is going to allow that souffle to act like on the sides and rise up. So just kind of put that around and just kind of glaze it up like this. And now we've got a little bit of insulation, you could call it. So that goes down. Let's talk egg whites. One special tip, keep your elbow in. The whisking comes from the wrist, and it's a back and forth motion, just like this. And you just want to pound as much air as you possibly can into those egg whites. The other secret is the creme de tartare. This is a leveling agent, so basically it's just going to act like a little bit of acidity in there, and it's going to keep those bubbles full, and that's really what we're after. But what we want to look for is a peak like that.
Perfect.
So a stiff peak is what they call that in the baking world. And then we go back to our cheese mixture. And when you think about this cheese mixture, I want you to think about 100% of the flavor, but only 50% of the mass. So we're going to add a lot of flavor here. We're going to go with some egg yolks. That's going to temper it and cool it down a little bit. We're going to go with some Dijon, big flavor there. And then we're going to go with 1,000 chives. So cut them really thin and sprinkle them in like that. And you know what? A little salt and pepper goes a long way too. But basically now, what we're going to do is just fold this in. The egg yolks, the protein loves the cheese. And we get this like beautiful mixture that's just a punch in the face of flavor. So now, we're going to take it, just cooled off a little bit, and look, it just almost looks like the thickest fondue ever. And then a little bit goes in the bowl, in your egg whites. You take that, and this is a 3-stager. We're just going to fold that in nice and soft. And once that kind of disappears in there, we're going to take it again, one more third. We're going to fold it in. And everyone gets really like, you know, Jack Tripperish about this, Trace, and they're like, well, you gotta be really, really soft. But at the end of the day, you know, you gotta get the two mixed so you can be a little bit more forceful. It's gonna be all right. And then the last one, here it goes in. So we're actually doing this basically in real time. So you can make this at home in like 6 or 7 minutes if you get all your prep together. Then you're gonna bake it for 15 to 20 minutes until it goes gold and it goes through. You can do a smaller ones, like 5 or 6 of them, or you could do like one big one. The portions I have on the recipe online, they're gonna make 2, but this, look at this, is what we're after. And you can see that this is pillowy soft going into our greased ramekin. Oh my God. So now we do a water bath, we bake it in the oven for 20 minutes. You ready, Trace? You ready for this?
I'm ready, but shh. You have to be really quiet.
I'm in front of it. I got up early today.
Wow.
This is the best part. Watch this. She just jiggles, just like,
Oh, it's beautiful.
oh, it's so soft and cheesy inside. And there you have it. You can do this at home.
Randy, you're so